Good morning, worlds. Well, it's afternoon now. Didn't really know if I was going to make a video, to be honest, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe I'll film this and I'll be like, no, thank you. But yeah, it's been a quiet. It's been an interesting morning, but I feel like there's something in here. Hold on, we're gonna get some smoke going. All right, let's get out a little mugwort. Okay, let's see where to start. Okay, well, I highly recommend if you haven't seen the Keanu Reeves movie, Little Buddha. Excellent. More to what Spirit is kind of emphasizing, though, is that in Siddhartha's story, as well as Jesus, like with Jesus, it was the fasting for 40 days and 40 nights in the desert when he was then tempted by three things by the devil. And same with Siddhartha as he sat under the tree. So there's something here around temptation coming up for you. And what was interesting, because why I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to do a reading today, because I've been very internal and doing my own thing, and it feels delicious, to be honest. And I was just working with Saint Germain just now. A lot of meditation, doing some Buddha stuff. And then, yeah, working with Saint Germain, and I had to stop because out of nowhere, like my root sacral chakra was so engaged that I actually had to apologize to Saint Germain to be like, I'm so sorry, but like I'm feeling something. Now again, sometimes when I'm feeling stuff, it's my own stuff, 100%. Like if I'm feeling horny, it's my own horniness. If I'm feeling like there's things that can just be mine and not the collective. But because it was coming off of like 6 hours of, a lot of Buddha stuff, and then rewatching Little Buddha, and then going back to Jesus' story and thinking about temptation. And it's interesting because something has popped up in my life that would have been a temptation and is still coming forward, sniffing around as a temptation. And because I've just removed a lot of things and I'm just meditating, and I'm very solitary right now. Like even the last few people, like really the only one I see consistently is my 90-year-old man on Mondays. And he is a treasure chest. He's a delight. So there's something here around temptation coming up for you guys. You will be tested. And what's great about the scene in Little Buddha, and I might actually just link it, because it's like someone actually took the 5 minutes of this one scene where like Siddhartha is sitting under the tree, and all the ways that the temptation came. First, it came in the form of like, beautiful women and water and like all these things. But then when Siddhartha didn't fall for it, then it was like, an army of hundreds and hundreds of thousands. Like it was like really dark. And then all of these bows with, fire, and then the storms. And anyway, so my point being, there's something here around temptation. And I think for a lot of you, it's going to be around a sexual temptation, just based off of my root chakra this morning. Now, I also do believe, though, there's two kind of separate, because then when I was also sitting with this very elevated sexual intensity, then it was like there was two storylines. One is about temptation, and the devil wears many masks. But then, and I've said this in another video, one of the Divine Counterpart videos, but this dance, Shakti, Shiva and Shakti, and just these larger than life in this cosmic, and it supersedes what we know as sex. Like, it is sexy. It is, you can feel it. And it's a pulsing. It has a hum. I mentioned this in the other, it's just this like intense hum and pulsing and this dance. And usually we get tested the most right before the dawn. So because there's been so many videos, oh, that would make sense actually with the energy sniffing around. Yeah, that right before, because there's been so many soulmates, like divine counterparts, divine, holy, sacred union, love stories coming in. And even when I've manifested certain things, you'll always be tested with something that looks and has almost all of the qualities, you know? Okay, so that's one thought. And then I did a random, just to be like, because the energy's been so weird. Just, I was feeling very internal and quiet and peaceful and really my soul was in the Himalayas, like really not here. Didn't really want to do a video today. So anyway, so then I flipped the book to be like, Spirit, what do you want to talk about? So February 2nd, titled Our Father. Hold on, let's get to the... At a single blow, this teaching of Jesus swept away 99% of all of the old theology with its avenging God, its chosen and favored individuals, its eternal hellfire, and all the other horrible paraphernalia of man's diseased and terrified imagination. You know, it's funny because I also pulled out the Bible the other day. It's been hanging around for a bit. Really got into the Psalms, and there was always stuff about the Psalms where I was like, I don't love the smiting. Going back to, again, a more ascending. It's like, I'm human. I've mentioned this. I struggle with people in my life who, if I were to make a human judgment, where I'm like, you do terrible things. You're a dark fuck. You've heard me talk about the dark fucks. But when I enter the state, yeah, I feel like it's an elevated state. When I call in the big guns and I enter to a higher state, it's like, we've been at this a long time, this back and forth. And if I look at my beliefs, smiting and, I don't know, wishing the worst, like, yeah, I wish people would stop doing terrible things. I really would wish that for everyone because, you know. But yeah, that Old Testament God, you know, the destructive, because what I just keep hearing and going back to is just go softer. And revisiting our ideas around what strength is. I've had to do this, even from a gendered perspective, you know? How we gender things, what we consider to be this, what is weak, what is strong, how strength is enacted. And what I just keep being shown is that the real OG is grace. Like, I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but in moments of grace where it's like impenetrable strength, it's unmovable, but it's not loud, it's quiet. Again, immovable. It is a fucking mountain. It's an energy. And that energy is knowing. It doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to be brutal, because it already knows that it's unmovable. It's unshakable. It's, you know, and it's in the creative solution. Like, true power is inspirational. People who think they're being powerful by acting out cruelty and depravity and is fear-based, like, that's not true power. That's someone who doesn't know what power is, you know? And enslaving people and harming people is not power. Don't know who didn't get the memo on that one, who didn't get CC'd. Anyway. God exists, and the eternal, all-powerful, all-present God is the loving Father. I'm going to say Father, Mother, because I did believe in the divine masculine and feminine, but the loving Father, Mother of mankind. If you would meditate upon this fact until you had some degree of understanding of what it really means, most of your difficulties and physical ailments would disappear, for they are rooted in fear. If you only could realize to some extent that omnipotent wisdom is your living, loving Father, Mother, most of your fears would go. If you could realize it completely, every negative thing in your life would vanish away. And I feel like that's kind of what they're showing me with like Siddhartha and Jesus. But like, there's so many ascended masters. There's so many medicine people that don't ever get acknowledged. We always have, you know, especially in the realm of like the divine feminine, and for more indigenous cultures. Yeah, there's something here about temptation, about understanding your value. That was another thing that came up in my meditation. Where do you currently derive your value from? Do you get most of your self-worth and value from your job title? Is it from your relationship? Because you're married, you know, like kind of the social norms. You're married now, you have this certain amount of kids, you were able to buy a house, you know, like you have the career. Like, where do you find value? Where does your self-worth come from? Because if all those things were removed, how would you feel about it? Anyway, food for thought. Let's pull a couple cards. I'm not going to keep this super long because I'm being told I need to go to a walk, and it's a faraway walk. Okay, so yeah, let's stick with a little Kimmy K. We'll pull 3 Kimmy Ks and then maybe a couple tarot cards, and then I'm gonna go. But I would recommend, if you haven't seen Little Buddha, it's great. It wasn't that popular, but I mean, it was a 90s film, and I don't think a lot of people were ready for Buddhism. Okay. All right, spirits. Also, what's going on with this divine sexual energy? Okay, let's go back to that for a second, because it was really distracting. So again, going back to temptation, and then even in that other video I did, discernment. How will you know which one is which? How will you know which is your temptation and which is a true divine counterpart? Well, I can tell you right now, sex really does confuse a lot of things. Ooh, the mother. Yeah, the divine mother. Okay, so I've got the divine mother. Yes. Tell me more. Oh, yeah, you really want to come out. Ooh, the village. Okay. Yes. Whoa, you made this fly now. Whoa. The mystic. Look at this butterfly. I don't think I've ever had this one. Wow, and it literally flew out. The mother, the village, the mystic. Also, I was saying last night, but thinking about places of affinity, there's places on this planet that are power spots just for us. A lot of time it pertains to past lives. But even if it doesn't, we all have a magnetism to, you know, we're led to places, and learn how to discern, like, where do you feel good, where do you not feel good? Like, I'm currently in this city for a hot second. I know I'm here for a second, but I know this is not a forever place. I'm being moved around. I don't quite understand fully yet, other than I think it was for a rest. But like, this is not long term. I think. That's what I was hearing, sensing, but we'll see. Again, being open to being like, okay, but I believe that this is not. But going back to where do you feel empowered? What, like, maybe you guys haven't traveled a lot yet, but there's, like, for me, oh man, and you don't have to have a lot of money. I'm a poor kid. I used to, back in the day, you could get a Greyhound ticket. If you bought 2 weeks in advance for $125, you could go anywhere that Greyhound went. I could have gone from Whitehorse, Yukon, all the way down to Florida. The only rule was at that time is you couldn't get off the bus and take a rest. You'd have to do the full trip. And I got around. But like the Southwest, the Four Corners, oh man, that place. And you know what? And they're showing, you don't even have to, if you can just imagine it, or again, find a video, there's ways of traveling and connecting that can empower you and like literally fill up your cups. So think about that. What cultures do you have an affinity for? What places would you like to see? Like, I always crave the mountains. Like, if I could return, to me it feels like returning. The Himalayas, even the Andes. They're so, and when I go into meditation and when I picture, like, there's just certain power spots that I can travel to. And I know I'm spiritually protected. So again, if you feel like there's malevolent things trying to connect with you, it's like, awas. And you can go and you can, reconnect, but also ask that place to share with you things, you know? And it's funny because, I have this rock. I forget what kind it is. I'm terrible with names. But as I was meditating on the Himalayas, this just kept staring at me. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, yes, you remind me of a part of the mountains that I would have come from. Absolutely. So that seems to be important. Traveling. Now, you may have heard me speak sometimes about my kind of misanthropic, where I find humans to be really sometimes untenable, not a lot of fun. But what I've always said, though, is that where I have delighted the most in human beings and been shown real magic is through traveling. Traveling the world, it's curiosity, it's adventure. It shows you, too, that, language is not a barrier. You can both not speak the same language and you will find a way to communicate because it's universal. And when you simplify and deduce things, the true essence of the connection can really come out, and it's really beautiful. And there's a saying, you will always have your trail angels along the way. Now, invariably, if you haven't traveled a lot, you got to know that first things first, something always invariably goes wrong when you travel. Things get delayed. Flights, tickets get lost. You don't know what's going to happen. But invariably, shit's going to go down when you travel. And if you lean in and allow for the miraculous, your trail angels are going to show up. And you're going to get to experience the best parts of humanity. And I really believe I've been really blessed that I've been able to not only live all over Canada, but I've done a fair bit of traveling in my life. And learning how to find what connects us as humans rather than divisive. It's so easy to see what is not similar about us and to be like, you're not like me. In that open way, I've been able to connect with people that I would never have wanted to in the past, or would have believed was possible. I'm talking some human beings that, scary people. But there's these kind of cracks that occur with the divine. That again, if you're open-minded and willing, open-hearted and willing to be surprised, you can have some really tremendous experiences. Okay, so there's something here. Wow, this is wow. Yeah, okay. I never know where we're gonna go, guys. I know this may not be interesting for a lot of you. That's okay. That's okay. This will find who it needs to find. La mother. Let's go, Mama Bear. What do you got to say? Oh, the divine snake. Yeah, the snake is really here. We're in the year of the snake. Yeah, the two different snakes. The tempting snake, but then the divine mother snake, the nurturing snake, the healing snake. Came out last night's reading. Mother. Okay. The mother. The great mother, the feminine, the source. We begin our archetypal story with the mother's love. Through her sensual, fertile, and life-giving energy, all creation takes form. Regardless of our birth story, each of our hearts beat for the first time in the warm womb of the mother, where she offered resources from her body for the building of our own. Yet her tale is not so simple, as the mother, especially on the earthly plane, contains both light and dark aspects of the feminine. With the best of intentions, the mother wraps her loving arms around her creations and begins to grip what she is meant to set free. The mother both nurtures and prohibits growth. She gives, yet she clings. She creates, yet restricts. Amid this complex energy, the mother holds the key to the internal challenge of love. Oh, yeah. Ooh, that's good. Notice how the mother archetype is expressed in nature. This is perhaps the most balanced and benevolent form of the mother's grace. The mother is part of the trifecta maiden mother crone because of the relationship between them. Take special note when these cards appear and when reading. There's a snowplow out, but there's no snow currently. Like, it snowed for a hot second yesterday, but nothing to warrant a snowplow. Okay, what they're showing me is that we had some crazy snowstorms this winter. And do you think that little snowplow was out when the snow was literally past the cars for people to be able to walk? No. And now that there is literally no snow, the snow has melted. This ding-dong is zipping around like the king of the castle, removing no snow. This is what I mean by the temptation. It's like this thing that you needed when you needed it wasn't there. It's kind of like the person sniffing around. It's like when you needed them the most, they weren't there. And then when you don't need them, look who shows up. Oh, ding, ding, ding. So pay attention. Who shows up now that you've let go? Who starts sniffing around? Like a feral dog. Get out of here. Yeah, the great thing about not needing things, especially people, like when you know what you need and require, but you're not desperate. So like if it doesn't show up, you're not clamoring. You're like, well, I'm great. Like, I'm not in a deficit. Like anything, like if this thing shows up, it's a bonus, but like my life already is a bonus. So like pay attention to, the people that start sniffing around. Because I'm like, I can tell you right now, a while ago, this person would have had me in the short and curlies. Oh man, if I got a message or a phone call or an invitation or like something, I would have been gripped. I would have been like, yeah, let's do this. Now, it's like fart in the breeze, don't care. Like, I got better things to do, I talk to spirits, talk to my kitties, talk to trees in the cemetery, do YouTube readings, Saint Germain all day, Purple Hearts Aflame. I'm telling you guys, if you want to feel good, start working with the violet. The violet energy, if that appeals to you, I'm telling you, it's a pretty instant win-win-win. The Village. 145. Yeah, keep on knocking, but you can't come in. Yeah, some people you don't want to let in, and some people you do want to let in. Remember, you're the bouncer. You're the bouncer of your own house, You get to decide. Same with spirits. Someone's messing with you? Ugh. Again, just be like the grandmothers, the abuelas with the chancla. There's this one Instagram video short where this like abuela is standing, it looks like Florida, somewhere where there's crocodiles. She's at the water's edge. And this crocodile could leap out and eat her at any second. And going back to this energy, she freaking the fuck out? No, she's standing cool, calm, and collected. Little ratty tank top, her shorts, because it's hot as fuck. And her energy, and all she does is she slowly gets down, takes off her chancla. A little crocodile pops his eyes up a little bit to try to intimidate her, and she takes her chancla and, you know, just fucking gives it a good smackdown again. And again, the energy, total boss, so cool, calm, and collected. Little chancla, and that fucking crocodile took the fuck off. That's the kind of energy we want to be harnessing. That's the kind of energy you want to be harnessing when dirt-kicking snakes and rabid dogs that are hungry, that weren't around when you needed them, and then when you do need them, or now that you don't need them, oh, look whose paw is trying to ring the bell. You can knock all day. Can't come in. All right, the village, the hometown, the family, the tribe. Ooh, this is reminding me, going back to, again, places of infinity. There's something about, like, where you belong. Like, do you currently feel like you belong where you are? That can be with your family, your friends, literally the physical place that you live. Whether it's the town or the city, the province or the state, the country. Pay attention. The village presents us with a conundrum. On one hand, it's the place that feels most like home. The place to which you can always return. Nostalgia and comfort draw us back. On the other hand, it's the very place you must leave in order to grow. Around the village, an unspoken boundary exists. One, most villagers do not want you to cross. Around the village, an unspoken boundary exists. One, most villagers do not want you to cross. Though some support your leaving, still you hear whispers of doubt as you venture beyond its borders, leaving them behind. The energy of the village is present any time we feel restricted by a certain group, community, family, place, or ideology. It may have served us in the past, yet staying within its parameters will never satiate our thirst for life. Thank the village for all it has provided, knowing you will someday return. For now, the world awaits. Yeah, I think this is the time to get out into the world, go explore. Returning to the village is as important as leaving it. This can be thought of as a completion or an integration of what you learned out in the wild. The village moves with you, as it is more of a mindset than a physical place. Yeah, this is what I mean. I do believe in physically getting to a place, but if you can't, like if I'm really in the dumps, I do. And what I was saying too about music can also take you back, and it's really important. There's real alchemy. Like, music is, to me, the most alchemical. It is fucking so far-reaching what music can do and what it is. Yeah, where do you want to be? If I could be anywhere today, I would love to take my son. Yeah. I was watching this one documentary on this one part of, it borders Tibet, China. It's like northern India, but it's this one very remote, specific location. And I feel a very strong affinity. Like, it is a recognition. Same with parts of Mongolia. Same with the Southwest. It's an expansiveness. Again, paying attention, the emotional barometer, your physical barometer. How do people, places, and things make you feel? Because there's equally places that will drain you. Like, every time I return to this particular city, hard lessons. Usually also on the coattails of a major breakup. But even in my youth, like, real hard times. Now, I've been more open and playful with it to just allow it to be like, you know what, the past is the past. It doesn't have to dictate the future. But if you get into astrocartography, where like they take your birth chart and then you can see maps of the world, and based off of your planetary positions when you were born and like whatever, you can basically pinpoint where are power spots for you. And it's funny, I went back and looked at all of the places that I've lived. I've lived in over 50 different towns and cities at this point. But a lot of my childhood places were really hard things happened. And if you look at the line that it falls on, we're not talking energetic lines, it's planetary based off of your chart. If you go to astro.com, it's a free site. You can put in your chart as long as you know your birth time, and then you can just go to the astrocartography. Yeah, so like, and because I've traveled a lot, I know the places that fill up my cup. And so now, since COVID, like I have not traveled like I used to, which is good. I call this the last, 10 years, like my Taurian phase of like learning how to go at a snail's pace, like slow it all down. And yeah, so there's an emphasis here. Okay, let's get to the mystic, and I'm gonna let you go. Doopy-doo. The seeker, the light worker, the dreamer. The mystic is often misunderstood in our culture, depicted as a wandering or light-hearted daydreamer. Yet, like Shiva, the true mystic plays a critical role in society, remaining fearlessly dedicated to the path of transformation. In order to save the earth from darkness, Shiva swallows the poison of the world and holds it in his throat, slowly transmuting the liquid into nectar. This is the work of the mystic. They do not fear darkness, but rather sit in the presence of it, harness the potential and latent energy behind it, and embed it with light. Yes! Oh, fuck. Yes. Mm-hmm. They are patient and prudent change makers, seeking growth above all else. Unanswerable questions are the mystic's lifeblood. The mystic revels in mystery. If this is your first time to this channel, and this is your first video, if I'm throwing my head back and screaming, it's because for the past, 3 to 4 weeks, I've just been getting these downloads that all follow each other, even if they're love stories, but the message is all the same. So a lot of these keywords keep coming out, same themes, and it's nice, because at least I know I'm following the thread in the right direction. But even like Shiva, where I was like, I don't think Shiva comes up often, but right before I hopped on here, I was definitely seeing Shiva. Okay. The mystic revels in mystery, in the great riddle of life, dancing with the forces of light and dark upon its wings. Yeah, making sense of a mystery, not trying to solve it. Check in instead of check out. Lean in instead of lean out. Embrace the darkness. Embrace pain. Lean into it. Allow it to burn you up. It will feel as though you're dying. It'll feel as though sometimes maybe you're going insane. And there are going to be points where you want to check out. Stay there. Stay focused. Just lean in. And don't try to solve anything. Just try to make sense of a mystery. And just like listen. And everything I keep talking about, and I know it's going to bore the hell out of probably a lot of you, but everything communicates with us. All the information that we could ever need is right here, right now. The only thing required to understand it is just taking the time to not be distracted, to get focused, or to be kind of unfocused, what I call the in-between. You just allow, you're open, you're observant, but you're not hyper-focused. Sometimes hyper-focus is good. Things can come within that. That can also be an in-between state. Being curious, being playful. Okay, well, yeah, my energy is kind of, yeah, it's more quiet, um, and I want to go outside and move this energy because I've now been in the house a little bit too long by my own standards. So I need to go out and be part of life and not be so hermity, at least just to be out in life and get some fresh air in the nostrils. So these are the things to consider. Yeah. What gives you a sense of self-worth and value? Look at that. Don't get nervous about it. You don't have to judge it. Like, if your career is the only thing that gives you your sense of self-worth and value, you don't have to judge it, but maybe you just want to ask questions around it. You know? And I'm really feeling a lot of traveling for people. Is there a place that you always wanted to go to? Where do you have affinities? Yeah, look at your affinities. What are you naturally drawn to? Like, how do you like to decorate your home? You know, what sorts of colors, designs, things that pull from different cultures and areas, you know? What type of music do you like to go to? And what places do you not have an affinity for? For so many years, I had no interest in anything in the Victorian period. And then areas associated with that, like UK, Britain stuff, and like the Victorian, I've concluded that I've had a few lifetimes within that time period that was not pleasant for me and really had no interest. Yeah, there's just places in this world where I'm like, have no interest. No interest. And then there's just some places that I've literally been connected to since the age of 4, where I'm just like, it's my home. And you'll know because when you physically land there, it is a true recognition. It's at a cellular level. It is like returning home. You just know, you remember. It's a real physical remembering. Okay, that's it. Stay blessed, stay golden out there. Okay, bye.